COMW Podcast. Today's episode, Winter Mood Reset, Evidence-Based Morning Light, Movement, and Sleep.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're digging into something so many of us feel as the days get shorter and colder. You know that feeling, right? That sort of energy dip, the motivation just vanishes, and it feels like your brain's running on fumes until spring finally shows up. Well, our mission today is to give you some really immediate science-backed ways to fight back. And this isn't about, just slapping on a happy face. We're talking simple, precise tweaks, light movements, sleep that genuinely work. Things you can feel improving your mood, your energy, focus. Often, within days or weeks, if you stick with them. We've really boiled it down. We're going to cover the exact dose of morning light you need, why those quick walks outside are so important, how to lock in your sleep schedule. Also, specific foods for steady energy, setting boundaries with screens, huge one, and this tiny but kind of brilliant trick called the 2-minute start rule.
Absolutely. And look, these aren't just nice ideas we cooked up. The science here is solid. We're talking principles backed by clinical guidance from places like the NIMH, the American Psychiatric Association. It's the basis for how seasonal affective disorder is often approached. What's really key to grasp is that your body's response, that slump you feel, it's biological. It's driven by that big reduction in natural light. So the strategies we'll discuss, they're basically ways to, work with your biology, to stabilize that internal rhythm. And honestly, for many people, the change could be pretty dramatic when they get this right.
Okay, let's get into that biology then, because understanding why winter makes us feel sluggish is the first step, right? It's not just about hating the cold.
No, definitely not just the cold, though that doesn't help. It's primarily about light deprivation. Specifically, the lack of bright, blue-rich light, especially right when you wake up. Think of light as the master switch for your brain's internal clock. You might have heard of it. The suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN, it controls pretty much everything rhythm-wise. So when your eyes don't get that strong dose of morning light, a couple of things go wrong. First, the signal to shut off melatonin, that's your sleep hormone, it's weak. Melatonin basically hangs around longer than it should after you wake up, and that is why you feel so groggy and heavy, that horrible sleep inertia that can drag on for hours.
Okay. So you're literally still half asleep, chemically speaking. What's the second problem?
The second hit is serotonin. Serotonin is huge. It affects mood, energy, appetite, even impulse control. And less light exposure is directly linked to lower serotonin activity in the brain. Put those two together, lingering melatonin and reduced serotonin, and you get what scientists call circadian misalignment. Your internal timing is just off. Your body thinks it's still dusk when you need to be sharp and focused.
It really is a cascade, starting the second your alarm goes off. You mentioned seasonal affective disorder, SAD. How does that differ from just the common winter blues most people talk about? Is it just a matter of degree?
That's a really important distinction. The winter blues, that's generally milder. A dip in energy, maybe feeling a bit lower, but it often responds really well to the kinds of lifestyle changes we're talking about today. SAD, though, is different. It's classified as a major depressive episode, but with a clear seasonal pattern. It really impacts functioning people. People might struggle with work, feel extreme fatigue, notice big changes in appetite or sleep, and it tends to hit and lift around the same time each year. Estimates suggest SAD affects maybe 5% of U.S. adults. And interestingly, research consistently finds it's about 4 times more common in women, often starting in their 20s or 30s.
Okay. So whether it's the blues or something more significant like SAD.
The starting point for intervention is the same. Light is the master regulator, so that's where we have to begin if we want to combat that winter slump.
Perfect segue. Hack number 1, the non-negotiable. Morning light dosing. What's the actual prescription here? How much, when?
Okay, precision matters. You're aiming for bright light, specifically 10,000 lux, for about 20 to 30 minutes. And here's the crucial part. It needs to happen within the first 30 to 60 minutes after you wake up.
Within the first hour. Why is that timing so critical? Can't I just get my light at, say, 10 a.m. when it feels brighter?
You could, but it won't have nearly the same impact. Think back to that master clock, the SCN. It's most sensitive to light right after you wake up. That early dose is like hitting a reset button for your entire 24-hour cycle. It does 2 things powerfully. It slams the brakes on any leftover melatonin, clearing that grogginess, and it provides the strongest possible signal to ramp up serotonin production. Getting light later, like at 10 a.m., is a much weaker signal. It shifts your clock later, and it doesn't give you that strong morning anchor.
Okay, timing is key. Now that 10,000 lux intensity, that sounds like a lot. How does regular indoor light compare to being outside, even on a gloomy day?
This is where so many people underestimate the difference. Your typical bright indoor room, your kitchen, your office under fluorescent lights, that's probably giving you somewhere between 100, maybe 500 lux max. Now step outside. Even on a really overcast gray winter morning, you're still getting anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000 lux. 10 times, maybe 100 times more intense than indoors.
Wow.
And on a clear, sunny winter day, easily 25,000 lux or more.
Yeah.
So the take-home message is, get outside if you possibly can. Even just 5 minutes on your balcony or walking to the bus stop gives your brain a much more powerful signal than sitting by a window inside. Your biology needs that intense dose.
Okay, but reality check. Some of us wake up way before the sun or live places where stepping outside means instant frostbite. That's where the light therapy boxes come in, right? How do we use those properly? I bet people get that wrong too.
Oh, absolutely. Common mistake number one is distance. For a standard 10,000 lux box to deliver that intensity, it needs to be pretty close, typically about 16 to 24 inches from your face. Move it further back, and the intensity drops off dramatically. It's physics, the inverse square law. Mistake number two is direction. You don't want to stare directly into it. That's uncomfortable and unnecessary. Position it slightly off to the side, maybe a bit above eye level, or angled slightly down so the light enters your eyes indirectly.
Like mimicking the sun.
Exactly. And you do it while you're doing something else, eating breakfast, reading, checking emails. Just have it on, bathing your face in that bright light for your 20-30-minute session. Consistency is everything. Make it part of your morning routine, like brushing your teeth.
That makes sense. Distance and angle. Are there any important safety things to keep in mind? You mentioned clinical guidelines earlier.
Yes, definitely. Safety first. Light therapy is generally very safe, but there are a couple of key caveats, often highlighted in psychiatric guidelines. Anyone with bipolar disorder must talk to their psychiatrist before starting light therapy. There's a known risk, though small, that the intense light can trigger a switch into hypomania or mania. It needs careful management. Also, if you have existing eye conditions, things like macular degeneration, cataracts, maybe glaucoma, it's wise to check with your ophthalmologist first. They know your eyes and can advise if it's appropriate.
Good precautions. And maybe start slow.
Yeah, that's usually recommended. Maybe start with 10 or 15 minutes, see how you feel. Some people might get a mild headache or feel a bit wired initially. You can usually adjust the duration or timing slightly to find what works best for you.
Okay, solid start to the day with light. Now let's talk about the foundation that supports everything else. Hack number 2. Anchoring your sleep schedule. This sounds basic, but you said it's the cornerstone.
It really is. Poor sleep and low winter mood, they feed each other. It becomes this vicious cycle. To break it, you need an anchor. And the strongest anchor for your entire circadian system isn't your bedtime, it's your wake time. The single most impactful thing you can do for sleep consistency is to have one non-negotiable wake-up time. 7 days a week. Every single day.
Every day. Oof. Okay, but what about weekends? I mean, after a long week, sleeping in feels like a necessity, doesn't it? How bad is it really to grab an extra hour or two on Saturday?
Oh, it feels so good in the moment. But think about what you're doing to your internal clock. Sleeping in 2, 3, even 4 hours later on weekends creates what sleep scientists call social jet lag.
Social jet lag.
Yeah. It's like you've flown across several time zones without leaving your bed. By waking up much later, you're telling your SCN, your master clock, hey, shift everything later. So what happens? Come Sunday night, your body isn't ready for sleep at your normal weekday bedtime. Melatonin release is delayed, you struggle to fall asleep, and then Monday morning feels absolutely brutal because your clock is still on weekend time.
Okay, I get it. So what's the compromise? Is any sleeping in allowed?
The general recommendation is to try and keep your weekend wake-up time within about 60 minutes of your weekday wake-up time. An hour is usually okay. It won't throw things off too much. If you're really sleep-deprived and need extra rest, a short nap, like 20, maybe 30 minutes max in the early afternoon, is a much better strategy. It helps repay some sleep debt without drastically messing up your nighttime melatonin rhythm.
Right, the power nap solution. So we've got the wake time anchor. What about the other end of the day? The evening routine. We need to protect that anchor. Right.
Exactly. If morning is about getting bright light, evening is all about light reduction. As the sun goes down outside, you want to mimic that indoors. Dim the lights. Switch off those really bright blue heavy overhead lights, especially in the rooms where you relax. Use warmer toned lamps instead. Think soft amber or reddish hues. Create a sort of cave environment.
And the screens, the dreaded screen curfew. How strict do we need to be?
Pretty strict, honestly. Aim for a hard stop on all screens, phones, tablets, laptop, TV, at least 60 minutes, ideally 90 minutes, before your intended bedtime. We know the blue light emitted by these devices directly suppresses melatonin production. It tells your brain it's still daytime, but it's not just the light, it's the content.
Ah, right. Scrolling through news or intense social media.
Exactly. It's often emotionally activating. It ramps up your nervous system, causes worry or excitement, making it much harder to wind down and fall asleep peacefully, even after you turn the lights off. So protect that last hour fiercely. Read a physical book, listen to calm music, do some gentle stretching, take a warm bath, anything but screens.
Makes sense. What about the bedroom itself? Temperature, air quality? Those must matter too, especially when we're cooped up inside more.
They absolutely do. For optimal sleep, your bedroom needs to be cool. The ideal range for most people is somewhere between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. That's around 18 Celsius. Your body temperature naturally needs to drop slightly to initiate and maintain deep sleep. And you mentioned being cooped up. Central heating, while necessary, often dries out the air significantly. Really dry air can irritate your airways, lead to congestion, a dry mouth, and actually fragment your sleep, meaning you wake up more often, even if you don't remember it.
So a humidifier could actually help sleep.
It really can. Keeping the humidity in a comfortable range, say 40 to 60%, can make a surprising difference to sleep quality for some people, just by improving respiratory comfort.
Okay, so we've got light dialed in, sleep anchored. Let's talk about getting moving, especially when just getting off the sofa feels like climbing Everest. Hack number 3, daylight walks and movement snacks. This isn't about marathon training, is it?
Not at all. When energy is low, aiming for intense workouts can feel impossible and just lead to giving up.
Yeah.
The focus here is on cumulative, low-intensity movement throughout the day. Scientists sometimes call this neat, non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
Neat. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically all the calories you burn doing everything except structured exercise, sleeping, or eating. Fidgeting, walking around, taking the stairs, it all adds up, and it's super accessible.
So how do we deliberately boost our NEAT during a winter workday?
2 key strategies. First, those short outdoor walks. Aim for just 5 or 10 minutes, but try to time them during peak daylight hours, maybe late morning, like 10 or 11 a.m., or early afternoon, around 2 or 3 p.m. This gives you a triple whammy. You get movement, which boosts energy, you break up long stretches of sitting, which is terrible for metabolism, and you get another hit of that bright daylight, reinforcing your circadian rhythm midday. Even on a cloudy day, remember, way brighter than indoors.
Right, stacking the benefits. What's the movement snack part?
That's about interrupting sedentary time regularly. Set a timer, maybe every 90 minutes or so while you're working. When it goes off, you just stand up and move for 5 minutes. Could be walking up and down the stairs a few times, do a quick lap around your office floor, or even your house, maybe some jumping jacks or squats right there at your desk. Anything to get the blood flowing.
And there's a brain benefit too, right? Not just physical.
Huge brain benefit. Research shows these brief movement breaks aren't wasted time. They actually enhance productivity. They boost blood flow and oxygen to your brain, particularly the prefrontal cortex, which handles focus and decision-making. You often find you get improved concentration, less mental fatigue, and even a bit more creativity for the next 60 to 90 minutes after that short break. So it pays for itself.
Okay, I love the movement snack idea. And just to reiterate for everyone listening who's picturing Nake's 30 degrees outside, bundling up like the Michelin man for that 5-minute lap around the block totally counts.
Absolutely. The goal is breaking inertia and getting some light and movement. Low friction is key. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good enough. A beanie and a brisk walk counts.
Perfect. Now, speaking of inertia, that feeling when you know you should do something, go for that walk, start that report, but you just can't. The gap feels massive. This brings us to hack number 4, the 2-minute start rule. This sounds almost too simple.
It does sound simple, but it's incredibly powerful because it targets the core psychological barrier. Getting started. Winter inertia is real. Looking at a task, especially when you're dreading, the mental energy required to just begin can feel overwhelming. The 2-minute rule, which comes from habit formation research, bypasses that overwhelm. You don't commit to the whole task. You only commit to starting it for exactly 2 minutes.
Okay, explain the psychology. Why does just 2 minutes work?
Because the biggest hurdle is almost always initiation, not continuation. We often think we need to feel motivated before we act, but it usually works the other way around. Action creates motivation. Once you start, even for just 2 minutes, you break that initial resistance. You build a tiny bit of momentum, and often that's enough to keep you going.
Can you give some concrete examples?
Sure. Let's say you want to go for that daylight walk, but feel glued to the chair. The 2-minute rule says, just put on your shoes and coat and step outside the door. That's it. 2 minutes.
And if you just turn around and come back in after 2
It's
minutes?
still a win. Seriously, you broke the inertia, you put on the gear, you got outside. You reinforced the habit of starting. Maybe next time you'll walk for 5 minutes. Same for work tasks. Dread doing your expenses. Commit to opening the spreadsheet and entering one receipt. 2 minutes. Often you'll find yourself just continuing because you've overcome that initial hump.
I love that. Action before motivation. Okay, let's shift focus slightly to our surroundings because where we spend our time matters. Hack number 5. Optimizing your workspace. Small tweaks can make a difference.
Huge difference, especially since we spend so much time indoors in winter. First, light again. Maximize natural light. If it's at all possible, set up your main workspace, your desk, your laptop spot within about 10 feet of a window. There's data showing that workers with window access get significantly more daylight exposure, like 173% more, which leads to better sleep and better mood. It ties right back into hack #1 and #2.
What if a window seat just isn't an option?
Then you need to supplement strategically. Get a bright task light for your desk. And pay attention to the color temperature. You want something labeled daylight spectrum or around 5000 Kelvin K or higher. This light is richer in the blue wavelengths that help keep you alert and suppress melatonin during the day, fighting that afternoon slump. Avoid using only dim, warm yellowish lights, like 2700 K, for work. Save those for your evening wind-down routine.
Okay, bright task lighting. What else?
Plants. Yes. Adding a simple live plant to your desk or nearby can have a measurable impact. Things like a pothos or a snake plant are super low maintenance. Studies show greenery can reduce perceived stress and even improve how people rate the air quality. It's a small thing that just makes the space feel a bit better, a bit more alive.
And finally, comfort, temperature, and humidity again.
Yep, same principles as the bedroom, really. Aim for a comfortable temperature, maybe 68 to 72 Fahrenheit. And again, watch out for overly dry air from heating systems. It genuinely contributes to fatigue, sometimes through low-grade dehydration or just respiratory discomfort, making it hard to focus. Consider that humidifier for your workspace, too, if the air feels really dry.
Okay, environment sorted. Let's talk fuel. Winter cravings often pull us towards heavy, carby comfort foods. Hack number 6 is about nutrition for mood stability. How can we eat to support our energy, not sabotage it?
The key word is stability. We're not talking about drastic diets, but targeted strategies. The most crucial one, arguably, is getting enough protein at breakfast. Aim for around 20 to 30 grams within the first couple of hours of waking up.
Why protein specifically?
2 main reasons. First, it helps stabilize your blood sugar levels right from the start of the day. This prevents those energy crashes mid-morning that make you crave sugary snacks and feel even more lethargic. Think eggs, Greek yogurt, a quality protein shake, tofu scramble. Second, protein provides amino acids, including tryptophan. And tryptophan is the essential building block your brain needs to make serotonin. Remember how winter light reduces serotonin? Starting your day with adequate protein ensures your brain at least has the raw materials it needs.
Got it. Protein for stability and serotonin building blocks. What else? Omega-3s often come up.
Right, omega-3 fatty acids, especially EPA and DHA, which you find mainly in fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines. These fats are literally part of your brain cell structure. They're important for communication between brain cells and have anti-inflammatory effects. Now, they're not a magic bullet for mood, but the evidence suggests that getting enough omega-3s supports overall brain health. If you don't eat fatty fish regularly, a supplement providing around 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA daily might offer modest benefits.
And you mentioned the gut-brain connection earlier. How does winter eating affect that?
Oh, massively. This is a huge area of research. Something like 90% of your body's serotonin is actually made in your gut. And the health of your gut microbiome, those trillions of bacteria, directly influences your brain function and mood via complex signaling pathways. When we lean heavily on processed, low-fiber comfort foods in winter, we're essentially starving the good gut bacteria that thrive on fiber.
So we need to feed the good guys.
Exactly. Prioritize fiber, think whole grains, lots of different vegetables, fruits, legumes, nuts, seeds. And consider adding fermented foods like plain kefir or yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi. These contain live bacteria, and the fiber feeds your resident microbes. When these microbes break down fiber, they produce beneficial compounds like short-chain fatty acids, particularly butyrate. Butyrate has known anti-inflammatory effects and helps regulate that gut-brain communication, potentially stabilizing mood and resilience to stress.
Fascinating. And quickly, hydration and maybe alcohol?
Hydration never underestimated. Even being mildly dehydrated, like just 1 or 2% down on body water, measurably impairs concentration, mood, and memory. Keep water handy, sip it throughout the day, don't wait until you feel thirsty. And alcohol, Look, it might feel like it relaxes you initially, but it's ultimately a depressant and it seriously messes with your sleep quality. It particularly disrupts REM sleep, which is vital for emotional processing. So be really mindful of intake, especially avoiding it close to bedtime.
Good reminders. Okay, the big one everyone asks about in winter. Vitamin D, hack number 7. Give us the facts, cut through the hype. Is it the miracle cure?
Short answer, no, not a miracle cure, but it is essential, especially if you're deficient. The main issue is simple geography. If you live north of about 37 degrees latitude, which covers most of the US, Canada, Europe, the sun's rays are too weak in winter for your skin to make vitamin D, period. From roughly November to March, you're relying entirely on the storage you built up over the summer and whatever you get from food, which usually isn't much. So levels naturally drop for many people.
And deficiency is common.
Very common. Estimates hover around 40% of U.S. adults having insufficient levels, maybe even higher in northern regions during winter. But, and this is key, taking extra vitamin D only really helps if your levels are actually low. If your levels are already adequate, more isn't better for mood.
So testing is the ideal.
Ideally, yes. A simple blood test for 25-hydroxyvitamin D is the only way to know for sure where you stand.
And if someone is low, what's a reasonable supplement dose?
Based on guidance from groups like the Endocrine Society, if you're confirmed insufficient, usually meaning levels below 30 indiquine mel, a modest daily dose of around 1,000 to 2,000 IU of vitamin D3 is generally considered safe and effective for most adults to bring levels up. And remember, it's fat-soluble. Take it with a meal that contains some fat, like that protein breakfast, or with lunch or dinner to maximize absorption. But again, it's just one piece of the puzzle, not the whole solution.
Right, part of the bigger picture. Okay, shifting gears to a very modern problem. Hack number 8. Boundaries with screens and doom scrolling. We talked about the blue light for sleep, but it's more than that, isn't it?
Oh, much more. The content we consume, especially late at night, has a huge psychological impact. We already set that 60-90-minute screen curfew for melatonin. But think about what you're doing during those last waking hours. Scrolling through social media often triggers comparison and inadequacy. Watching intense news cycles fuels anxiety. Getting into online arguments. It all activates your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response right when you should be winding down. It actively works against sleep and calm.
So how do we fight the compulsive urge to pick up the phone?
You need to create friction. Willpower alone often fails when you're tired or stressed, so make it slightly harder to access those problem apps. Move the social media or news app icons off your main home screen, bury them in a folder on the last page. Or even better, log out of the app after each use. Just having to type your password again can be enough of a pause to break that automatic mindless habit loop.
Friction is good. What about when the urge strikes? Just putting the phone down isn't always enough.
Exactly. You can't just create a vacuum. You need to replace the habit. Identify why you're reaching for the phone. Are you bored, stressed, procrastinating? Then have an alternative, easy activity ready to go. Keep a physical book you're enjoying, or a puzzle, or knitting, or even just ingredients to make a cup of tea right where you usually scroll. The replacement needs to be low effort and immediately available, so it's the easier choice in that moment of urge.
And maybe think about how we use screens when we are on them.
Yes, that's important too. There's a difference between active and passive use. Research consistently links passive scrolling, just mindlessly consuming other people's highlight reels, with worse mood and increased feelings of loneliness. Try shifting towards more active use if you're going to be on social media. Send a direct message to a friend, comment thoughtfully on something, use it to actually arrange a real-world connection. Engage rather than just consume.
That leads perfectly into hack number 9, social connection. Because winter can be isolating, right? We just don't bump into people as much.
It's a huge factor. Less spontaneous interaction, bad weather keeping us indoors. Isolation creeps up easily. And we know undeniably that loneliness and isolation are terrible for mental health. They reliably worsen mood and drain energy. So just like movement, social connection needs to become intentional in winter. The key insight here is schedule it. Don't just hope for it.
Schedule socializing. That sounds a bit clinical.
Maybe, but it works. When your energy is low, vague intentions like, I should call my sister sometime this week, rarely happen. Put it on the calendar. A recurring weekly video call with a friend. A standing coffee date every other Saturday. Make it a non-negotiable appointment. And lower the bar. It doesn't have to be a huge dinner party. A 15-minute phone call while you're walking, stacking hacks, totally counts. A quick chat over the fence with a neighbor, texting back and forth. Quality connection matters more than quantity or grand gestures. Focus on those small, consistent touch points.
I like that lowering the bar makes it feel much more doable, and combining walks and chats.
It's a fantastic combo. You get light, movement, and connection. Plus, research suggests that walking side by side can sometimes feel less intense or anxiety-provoking for people than sitting directly face-to-face, allowing conversation to flow more easily.
Great tip. Okay, last hack, number 10. This is about managing our thoughts and mindset when energy is low. Cognitive habits and tracking tiny wins.
Right. This pulls from principles of cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, which studies show can be really effective for seasonal mood issues, sometimes as effective as light therapy long-term, because you're building internal coping skills. Step 1 is learning to acknowledge the feeling without catastrophizing. When you feel that familiar wave of winter fatigue hit, notice it. Name it. Okay, my energy is lower right now. That's understandable given the season. What you don't want to do is jump to catastrophic interpretations like, this means I'm lazy, or I'm failing, or I'll never get anything done. Separate the physical sensation or low mood from the negative story you might attach to it. Validate the feeling. Challenge the catastrophic thought.
That takes practice, I imagine.
It does. And the second part helps with that. Actively track your tiny wins. Our brains have a negativity bias, especially when we're feeling low. We tend to only notice the things we didn't do, the struggles. So you need to consciously counter that. Keep a simple log, a note on your phone, a page in a journal. At the end of the day, jot down any small success related to these strategies. Did you get your morning light? Yes. Did you manage a 5-minute walk? Yes. Did you use the 2-minute rule to start one task? Yes. Did you stick to your screen curfew? Yes.
Why is writing it down so important?
Because it provides concrete proof against that negative internal voice that says you're doing nothing or failing. Looking back at that list, even if it's just 2 or 3 small things, shows you that you are taking action, you are breaking inertia, you are making progress. It reinforces that fundamental principle we keep coming back to. Action precedes motivation. You don't wait to feel good to start, you start, and that helps you feel good. Tracking wins builds that positive feedback loop.
Okay, wow, that was 10 incredibly detailed, practical hacks. It's a lot to take in. So how do we make this manageable? Let's talk about the 7-day starter plan.
Exactly. Trying to implement all 10 things perfectly from day 1 is a recipe for overwhelm and giving up. The starter plan is about building momentum incrementally. Focus on consistency with the previous day's habit before adding the next.
Okay, walk us through it day by day.
Day 1. Just one thing. Focus solely on the morning light anchor. Get outside or use your light box for 10-20 minutes within that first hour of waking. Nail this one habit.
Day 1, light. Got it.
Day 2. Keep the morning light habit going. Now, add movement. Just one 10-minute daylight walk, sometime midday. That's it.
Day 2, light plus walk.
Day 3.
No.
Maintain light and the walk. Today, add the nutrition foundation, that protein-rich breakfast, 20-30 dream within 2 hours of waking.
Day 3, light plus walk plus protein breakfast.
Day 4. Keep habits 1, 2, and 3. Now add the evening routine piece. A minimum 30-minute screen curfew before bed tonight. Longer is better, but start with 30.
Day 4, light plus walk plus protein breakfast plus screen curfew.
Day 5. Keep all the previous habits going. Today, add one active social connection. Make that call, send that text to arrange a chat, have coffee with a colleague. One connection.
Day 5, all previous plus social contact.
Day 6. Keep everything rolling. Today, make just 1 or 2 small workspace optimizations. Move your monitor closer to the window, order that daylight bulb online, buy a small plant. Tiny tweak.
Day 6, all previous plus workspace tweak.
Day 7. Keep practicing all the habits from the week. Today's task is to review and plan. Take 20-30 minutes. Look back at the week. What felt easiest? What gave you the biggest energy boost? What felt tough? Use these insights to sketch out a realistic plan for week 2, focusing on what worked best for you.
That feels so much more achievable, building brick by brick. So if people only remember a few things from today, what are the absolute highest impact habits to focus on first?
Okay, top 5 power levers. 1. Morning light dosing, non-negotiable first hour. 2. Consistent wake time color. Anchor that rhythm. Limit weekend drift. 3. Daylight walks, movement, snacks. Get outside, break up sitting. 4. Protein breakfast, stabilize energy, fuel serotonin. 5. Screen curfew, protect that pre-sleep window. If you focus on just those, you'll likely notice a real difference.
Fantastic. And the whole point here is finding what works for you, isn't it? It's about autonomy.
Completely. Take what resonates, experiment, leave what doesn't fit your life. Consistency with the fundamentals, light, sleep, movement, is way more valuable than trying to follow some complex, perfect plan that you can't stick to. Be kind to yourself.
Absolutely. And one important reminder.
Yes. It's crucial to say, while these strategies are powerful for managing winter blues and seasonal patterns, They aren't a substitute for professional help if you need it. If you're experiencing persistent low mood for more than 2 weeks, if it's significantly impacting your ability to function, or if you're having any thoughts of self-harm, please reach out to a doctor, a therapist, or a mental health crisis line immediately. Getting support is a sign of strength.
Thank you for adding that important note. This has been incredibly insightful. If you listening found this useful, maybe share it with a friend who's struggling with the winter slump. And we'd love to hear from you. Maybe share your 2-minute start win for the week in the comments. What inertia did you break?
Yeah, I'd love to hear those. And maybe a final thought to leave people with.
Please.
Instead of constantly fighting winter, trying to force summer levels of energy and output, what if we reframed it? Winter is naturally a time of less outward energy, more constraint. Maybe that constraint isn't just negative. Maybe it offers space. Space for rest, for deeper restoration, for turning inward, for reading, for quiet connection. Perhaps we can use these strategies, the light, the sleep structure, the movement, not just to fight the slump, but to protect that potential for internal work and resilience building rather than just battling for constant productivity.
That's a beautiful way to think about it. Protect the space winter offers rather than just fighting the season. Thank you so much for this deep dive. We'll be back soon with more. Until then, everyone, be well, take care of yourselves, and maybe enjoy a little bit of that quiet winter space.
Thanks for tuning in. If you found this podcast helpful, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Do you have any questions or want to suggest a topic? Just let us know in the comments. See you in the next episode. See you later.